So you're new to specialty coffee. You just got your very first pour over setup, which is awesome, congratulations, but you're still not quite getting the cups of coffee you expected you were gonna get. I might be able to help with that today. While there are a ton of variables that impact the taste of your cup of coffee, there's one variable that's really easy to change that might get you some drastic results, and that is water temperature. What's up, everybody? Hope you're doing awesome out there. Thank you so much for coming back to join me for yet another video. As per the rules of YouTube, I'm now obligated to ask you to make sure you're subscribed to the channel, make sure you're liking the videos, make sure you're leaving a comment. I love interacting with you guys down in the comment section. And also, if there's somebody else in your life that's big into specialty coffee, why don't you share this channel or share some of my videos with them if you think they might like them. Appreciate you. In today's video, we're talking about water temperature and more specifically, what water temperature you should use to brew your coffee with. Water quality is also another very important factor on the taste of your cup of coffee. I'm not gonna get into that here in this video since I've already done a video about it, so make sure you check that one out as well. Before we answer the question of what water temperature you should choose to use to brew your pour over coffee, we need to understand why water temperature is important to coffee in the first place. As I'm sure you already know, there are different levels of roast you can get your coffee at, or roast profiles, and those are dark, medium, and light roast. So depending on what roast level coffee you're brewing, you might want to adjust your water temperature accordingly to get the best flavors out of that particular coffee that you possibly can. The good news is there's a general rule of thumb, and that is this. For lighter roasted coffees, you want to use a hotter temperature water, and for more medium to darker roasted coffees, you want to use a lower temperature water. Pretty simple, right? Here's why that general rule of thumb typically works. Hotter water is better at dissolving and extracting flavors from the ground coffee. And because lighter roasted coffees are generally more dense, it's harder to extract those flavors from them, which the hotter water helps with. On the flip side, medium and darker roasted coffees are not as dense and they're not as hard to extract flavors from, which is why you can drop the temperature down so you don't over extract them and have gross flavors. Typically with darker roasted coffees, bitter flavors can creep in really quickly if you're brewing with too hot of a water temperature. So you want to be cautious with darker roasted coffees. Now, that's not to say you shouldn't drink dark roasted coffees if that's what you like. You should drink what you like. Just be careful. You don't want to use too hot a temperature of water, really over extract that darker, medium to darker roasted coffee and not get a great tasting cup of coffee or not get the best flavor you can get from that roast level of coffee. So that's the general rule of thumb. And while it does work good for most coffees, it's not a blanket for all coffees. In my experience, medium and darker roasted coffees will always perform better at lower water temperature. So that one's pretty much a set in stone fact. But some lighter roasted coffees I've really been enjoying at lower water temperatures. It brought out some really great fruity sweetness and acidity in that coffee that I was sort of slightly getting at the higher water temperature, but really came out a lot more prominently at the lower water temperature that I preferred a lot more. So that's why experimenting, getting to know your coffee and getting to know how it reacts to water temperature is really important. So let's experiment. I'm gonna brew the same coffee ground in the same grinder at the same grind setting and brewed in the same brewer. And all we're gonna do is change the water temperature for those 3 cups of coffee. And we're gonna taste test them and see how that impacts that coffee. Same coffee, different water temperatures, but same grind, same brewer, same brew, method, same number of pulses, same amount of agitation, trying to keep everything as equal as possible. The only thing changed, again, water temperature. So 212, 205, 200. Let's do some testing and see what we got. It's a little bitter. Got some cherry, maybe a little bit of the strawberry, a lot of the dark chocolate flavors, and a very bitter finish, not a lot of sweetness. So let's try the 205 degree. Still a little bit of bitterness. The strawberry and cherry are a little bit more prominent, a little bit sweeter. The chocolate flavor is not quite as dark, bitter chocolate. And it's got still a little bit of a bitter finish. So let's try the 200 degree coffee. This right here is really good. Really good strawberry, really good cherry, very good sort of kind of fudgy chocolate note, no bitterness at all. Good amount of sweetness. This is really good. So there you go, the 212 degree, a lot more bitterness, a lot more of the not So great flavors of this, particular coffee come out, middle of the road, 205 degree. Still a little bit of bitterness, a little bit more of this fruit, cherry, strawberry separation of flavors, and the chocolate's becoming a little bit less bitter and a little more kind of on the fudgy side. Great strawberry flavor, great cherry notes, really good sweetness. The chocolate note is a lot less bitter, again more kind of leaning towards the kind of the fudgy side of the chocolate flavor, and no bitterness at all in the finish, and just really nice. So that's how water temperature can make a big difference on your particular cup of coffee. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you learned something. Hope you got something out of this video. I hope you experiment with your brewing and get the best flavors and things that you can get out of your cups of coffee, because really that's what this is all about: growing, learning, experimenting, and enjoying some really good coffee. So take care, and we'll see you on the next video.